Now, let's look at another career that's perhaps one of the most popular choices for students across India. Now, unfortunately, this is not a career that one can apply for right after class 12. You guessed it right, I'm talking about civil services. Now, one can apply for the UPSC exam only after they finish graduation. Technically speaking, students from all streams apply to the civil services, as long as they've completed graduation. Now, there are various elements in the civil services exams, starting from the prelims to the mains. Now, let's look at one of the other careers that perhaps has the highest amount of scope all over the country. Now, there are three areas that I have personally seen that probably has the highest amount of applications in scope. One of the first areas, of course, is food, where agriculture has scope no matter where you go. Healthcare, where you would need healthcare for whether it's human beings or animals. Healthcare is a very, very important aspect. And third is education. I've never been to a place in the country where I have not seen a place to buy food, a place to get healthcare, or a place to learn. So, teaching is the next profession I'm going to talk about. Interestingly, it's one of those careers that not many students want to opt for. Why is that so? It's a question worth asking. But it's one of the few careers that keeps you close to your favorite subjects, perhaps for the rest of your life. You get to deal with students, impact the next generation, and help out individuals in a way that no other career can. Now, let's look at the career portal to understand these elements a little better.
Welcome back to the portal. Now, when discussing teaching as a career, we have noticed that a lot of students don't have an active interest to pursue a career in education or as a teacher per se. We notice very few students have shown an interest in that space. However, when it comes to scope and opportunity, we have realized that agriculture, food, education, healthcare are some of the spaces where the highest number of opportunities are available simply because of the requirement or the need of that career. Like we discussed much earlier, the careers that tend to solve most problems are the ones that have most amount of scope or opportunity. So when looking at teaching as a career, it is important to tell students that if they have a particular subject of interest, they could pursue a career diving deeper into that subject and being able to teach others those elements. It's a good way to be able to learn the subject better, but also they could find employment opportunities by developing a subject matter expertise. And this is primarily what teachers do. While they deal with students, they ensure that students understand what they teach. They are able to cover a certain curriculum within a stipulated amount of time. Teachers also tend to be individuals who have an active interest in the future generations. So let's look at school teacher. Now, when it comes to a primary school teacher, an elementary school teacher, or a high school teacher, the qualifications are slightly different. We'll first look at elementary school teacher. Typically, the pathway to become an elementary school teacher, one could complete class 10 in any scheme of subjects, and they could go in for an NSQF or a National Skill Qualification Framework for early childhood education, post which one would find work opportunities. There's also a diploma in elementary education known as DLED, or a diploma in preschool education known as DPSE, or a DAE, diploma in arts education, which is for visual or performing arts. And this could be done right after class 11th or 12th. Now, when looking at teaching in high school, the pathway is slightly different. One will have to complete a bachelor's degree in a certain subject, post which a lot of school boards would prefer a bachelor's in education qualification or B.Ed degree. So having a bachelor's degree in the subject that one wants to teach in, and alongside that having a B.Ed degree as well, is a desirable qualification for high school teachers today in India. However, there are certain boards like the International Baccalaureate Board that does not share the same qualificational requirement. Mostly state boards, central boards would have these qualificational requirements. So going to the future opportunities, the amount of expenses, of course, like we mentioned, the kind of opportunities that one would look at in the future, there has been a stable growth, and the careers in food, agriculture, and education and healthcare purely depend on population increase. So as long as there is a rise in population, there will always be a higher and higher demand in this space. Job opportunities are mentioned here very clearly. In the schools run by the Government of India, such as the Kendriya Vidyalaya schools, there is a central teacher eligibility test or CTET that is required, that is conducted by the Central Board of Secondary Education. So this is one specific qualification that is required. And of course, there are various other states that have their own qualificational tests. The job profile is mentioned here clearly, and the competencies required. To look at that a little deeper, of course, a teacher needs to have subject matter expertise, so knowledge of the subject, and teaching methodology also is something that teachers are expected. Public speaking skills, supervising skills, active listening skills, comprehension, and generally communication skills are very important, because teachers need not only have knowledge of the subject, but also need to understand how students think, what is the best way to teach them, and also understand group dynamics in a classroom. So classroom management skills tend to be very, very important for an effective teacher. The work activities that a teacher could expect are mentioned here very categorically. However, as career guides and as educators, we already have a lot of understanding of what the day-to-day responsibilities of a teacher are. So when talking to students, some of the students who would be good fits into this space would certainly be students who have a genuine interest in a certain subject and want to pursue them a little deeper. Alongside that, have an interest in ensuring that other students also understand the concepts better. So these might be students who are already explaining the same concepts to their friends. They take tuitions for junior students as well. So these are few things that a future teacher or an aspiring teacher could certainly start looking at.